Okay, so we are here with, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Phil Demmel from the band Vio-lence. Am I talking to the camera or
Yes,
to you?
you're talking to the camera.
Okay.
And slash me. Phil, nobody, including myself, believed a Vio-lence reunion would be possible. How did it happen?
Well, Sean, once I quit Machine Head and the tour was over, not too long after that, Sean hit me up and said, hey, you want to do some shows? And I was confused because hadn't seen him in about a year, and he had we did a charity golf tournament for him because he was going through his liver transplant, and the last time I'd seen him, he was really, really gaunt, and he looked like my grandfather. I didn't know if I was going to see him again. I wouldn't have been surprised if I didn't. So when he came back with that, I was like, what do you mean shows? Like, you want to go to the movies, or what do you mean? And he's, I'll do some violent shows, and wanted to make sure that he was really up for doing it. And then we got the guys back together and made a swing of it.
First rehearsal, what did it feel like?
We were at Perry's in Perry's living room, and it was loud, and it felt really good. Everybody played really, they remember the songs, and it felt really cool. The vibe was really, really positive and really cool at that point. And we had put a show up for sale, or put tickets for sale for a show, and they sold out in hours or something ridiculous. And that's when people started getting a little nervous, and just going, oh, I don't know, I'm all, let's do another show, let's add another one. And sold out in like minutes, like just ridiculous, 1,000 tickets, bam. And so that's when things started to get a little bit serious for some of the dudes, and kind of changed the landscape of what we were doing. Instead of, it wasn't just playing in the living room anymore, it was just doing some real stuff. So
What about the songs themselves? How did they feel after so many years of not playing them?
Some of them hadn't played in a bit. I'd fuck around every once in a while and play some Calling in the Corner, or play some riffs from the other ones. But sitting and playing a half an hour in a row, it was like, all right, not used to this. It took some training, and that was maybe 3 years ago. It was the end of 2018. So yeah, almost going on 3 years now that I've had that, got the thrash hand back, so it was physically, it was hard.
Are you still feeling excited about the material? Is anything dated? How's that working out for you?
Is it dated? Yeah, it's dated. But I think that, with Sean's vocals, it kind of sets us apart from a lot of what's happening. We are, some of the songs I don't like to play, I'll be honest, that some of them are just like the songs that I wrote when I was, just out of high school in 1985. So they sound like, it's like, people like this song, so we need to play it. But what I'm really enjoying is playing the new material, and so playing and certain riffs that TDS has always been a song that I just love to play. But what's gotten me excited is the newer songs and playing that new material.
And we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah.
So who came back? Vio-lence was always a band that had a steady lineup. For the 2 albums you guys had been around, you always had the same guys in the band.
Yeah.
It's not the case anymore. So who came back?
Right.
Who was left behind? Who couldn't make it?
Well, we had a steady lineup for 3 years.
and it was the 3 most important years.
Yeah, and it was. So, for 3 years we had the same guys, and then everything kind of fell apart. So when we got back, it was me, Perry, and Sean from the recording lineup. And then Ray Vegas came back and played. He was the guy that replaced Rob initially. And then, and Dean was there too. So we were all original except for Ray. And that we did some shows, and we had some fun. And we went on the cruise, did the 70,000 tons cruise, and it was awesome. And played with Power Trip, at their home show before the sad thing with Riley happened. So it was a good opportunity for us to play for them, and traveled and did some one-offs in Denver, and we did some cool things, man. And then it just became time to commitments were getting higher, and man, how to put this diplomatically.
I know.
It's just time for a change. and Bobby had, Ray was, unable to continue, and we were unable to continue as, with him, and so, you know, Perry had known Bobby for a long time. They had actually jammed previously,
And
right
which
after
Bobby are we talking about?
Bobby Gustafson from
There you go.
Overkill, yeah. And so he had pretty much just like, all right, well, we need a guitar player. This is the guy, and we were all on board. We had known Bobby over the years, and he had come to live out with Debbie Bono, so he was local for a minute, and so it was a guy that we all knew. He had the pedigree, and so that was this is cool with the train going.
I know. That's why we're not outside.
And so I mean, he was a perfect fit. Awesome dude. Great guitar player. And then.
Now, staying on topic of Bobby for a little bit longer, he comes from an established band, made some records.
Yeah.
What does he bring to the band, style-wise?
Yeah, style. I mean, the dude he's got these crazy construction fat fingers, and he just moves them like magic. It's just like we can't believe that he, can do the things that he does. So he's got a cool like knowledge of song structure and of music in general, and these songs aren't easy, man. They're fucking hard, and so he's got a good grasp on what we're doing as far as the old ones, and just kind of stability and kind of that, like I said, pedigree. He's been in it. He knows what it takes, and he knows, Vio-lence was opening for Overkill back in the day. He's super established. They weren't giving Vio-lence the sound checks back in the day. We were that band, so now he's with us, and it's nice to have that on the other side. Just look over there and know.
Let me just ask you, how do you enjoy playing with Bobby?
That's what I'm just saying. Yeah, I love looking over there and being able to know that stage left is being handled, and the trust is there, and writing these tunes with him, and he had a couple of good ideas for some songs, and so it's just nice to have that.
Now, you've mentioned a few times about the new material, so what's going on?
Yeah, we had decided to write. I didn't want to do a full length record. I mean, that's just 10 tunes. It's just I've got a baby at home. I got a 5-year-old who's just the highest of energies and exhausting. So my time is very valuable, and I just don't have the time to write a full length record. And I just felt let's take little baby steps with the band and see if we could write a couple tunes, maybe do through 3 or 4. It ended up being a 5-song EP that we're going to put out on Metal Blade Records in the beginning of March of next year. And the writing was just like, man, in the 16 years that I was in the other band was, it wasn't, they had thrash moments, but, towards the end there wasn't. And I had written thrash songs, I always have riffs, but I was just like, it was exciting to like, fuck, I'm all out, thrash song, and revisited. I wanted to capture some moments of Eternal Nightmare, and there's some signature Vio-lence sounds that I want to perpetuate and continue with. So, but also, since I've been playing thrash for a bit too, my right hand has gotten a lot stronger, and my playing I'm playing the best that I've ever played, and so I'm pushing the riffs. These aren't songs they're picking up in Guitar Center and just playing in Guitar Center. They're pretty hard to play, and I wanted to push everybody in that sense. And push Perry. Perry probably was. He had a voodoo doll at home that he was just he had his pillow. There's just his fill pillows. Because I put him through the ringer, man. I really. I don't want to say I trained him, but I needed him to be able to accept this material in a language that I could speak with him, and I had to teach him how to fucking understand my language, and it was hard, and it was grueling. It was me and him in a room for it was mostly this record musically was written. You know, I wrote the music, but with Perry, for 99% of it was just me and him in the room fucking hammering it out. So I'm super proud of him for what he played on the record. It's some of his best playing. It's definitely my best playing that's ever been recorded. I hadn't, towards the end of my time in the other band, wasn't tracking rhythms, you know, so it'd been a long time since I really tracked a metal record. I did the BPMD record and tracked those, but this was like, fuck, this is a thrash record, and so tracking the rhythms and was something refreshing and super cool to me, you know. And we did it with Juan Ortega and his spot, and he's awesome to work with, and had a great time, man. It was just a great experience, you know, recording with Perry, and I kind of let Sean do his own thing because he had his vocals down, and Sean is just destroying it on these songs, man. His voice is so unique, and like nobody sounds like him, and nobody is. It's sinister, man. It's fucking, you know, because he had a real high register that he was singing in back in '88, and there's moments of that really now, but it's dark, man. He's singing dark, and I fucking love it. I love his lyrics. He's, you know, the favorite lyricist that I've ever worked with, and he's smart, and he's witty, and he's colorful with what he does, and I thoroughly enjoy his lyrics.
Now, you keep mentioning that other band, which would be Machine Head,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. And this is the time when you spent playing in the band with Rob Flynn, who was also a founding member of Vio-lence. Now, so my question...
He wasn't a founding member.
Well, he was a longtime member.
He was in the band for...
For a bit, and then you guys got him.
Yeah, maybe 6 years or so.
But while you were in Machine Head and
5 years.
played with Rob, did you guys, while writing... write a Vio-lence riff or Vio-lence song, because all of a sudden you're still the same two people?
No, we didn't. You know, we didn't write in that sense. Are you ready for me?
Line check.
Is Perry done doing his drums?
He texted me and said line check. I'm not down there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll text you.
All right, I'll be down in 5 minutes.
Keep going, I'll text you.
So, yeah, maybe a little divine intervention there. No, but I mean, no, we didn't, because there was another agenda at stake, and that was, you know, not being violence. So, I mean, there's thrash moments that are in some Machine Head songs that we both kind of wrote, but it was never with that intent.
I always wonder about that. I mean,
No,
being in the same...
He didn't. Yeah,
Never happened.
He hated it when I would even mention violence in anything.
I noticed that too when I did some interviews with him for the first album, and I mean, we knew each other from Vio-lence, and I
Right.
mentioned Vio-lence. It was as if the band never existed,
Yeah.
but you know, I mean, maybe I can understand it because he wanted to get the new band going and
Yeah.
wanted to put his attention into it.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
That's what he did. It
Fair
was
enough.
fair. But as far as that, I got him in it quite a few times.
Kind of like, you know, Richie
For-
Blackmore was in Rainbow, but he still wrote Deep Purple riffs.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I get you. But
Yeah, in fact,
different.
Perfect Strangers is a Rainbow riff from like 1979
Oh, that's
or so.
cool. Right on.
So go figure. Getting back to Vio-lence, when you play a live show, who do you see in the audience now?
Who do I see? I mean, well, it's been a while. You know, we were shut down for so long, but we've done. Are you talking about like?
Like, do you see old fans coming back, new
Yeah.
fans?
So yeah, it's a lot of old fans, but there's a lot of young fans too. Like we did the show in LA, and it was like all these young metalheads with all the cool patches. A girl wearing a 17-year-old girl wearing a Exciter Violence and Force shirt. It's like, holy fucking shit, that is cool.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a mixture of both. It's mostly the old people coming out.
I mean, you haven't played Chicago in 30 years, and it's a sold-out show.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
How do you
Pretty
explain that?
exciting. Pretty explain. I don't know, man. I can't. I'm really excited for tonight. Chicago was always one of our favorite places to play, and you know, to have it sold out. We have a lot of friends that are in this town, and you know, yourself included. Always been a great friend of the band, and we played in Atlanta last night. I'm a little hungover, so I probably shouldn't have drank so much whiskey last night. But by the time it starts to come around, we'll be ready to fire up and go. I can't explain why it was sold out. You know, it's pretty awesome.
One other thing. you stepped away from all the other bands to be in Slayer for a while. What was that experience like?
Man, you know, I've told the story a bunch, and the day after I finished Machine Head, the day after the last show, I get home and I get the text from Carrie to come out, and it was such a, you know, I was struggling a lot with where my place in the music industry was, if I even had a place anymore, and what was going to happen. It was such a big step to, you know, walk away from that, you know, career job. You know, it was 16 years in that band, and yeah, there was bumps in the road. I probably could have stayed, you know, but walking into, you know, not knowing, and then having the band that's the reason why I play heavy music is Slayer, and to have them approach me to, you know, fill in for our, you know, our hero, our president from the Bay Area, you know, Gary Holt, our founding father of thrash, you know, to fill his shoes. It was just like such a, I'm still a little hammered, so no, I'm not drunk, but I can't think of the world, just this defining moment for me, just like, hey, you know, yeah, you do mean something in this industry. You are worthy of you know, of this fucking grandiose spot, filling Jeff Hanneman and Gary Holt's shoes, you know, in this, and on their farewell tour. It was affirming to me, and it kind of was that first big step into moving forward and doing other stuff. I mean, you know, I can't even mention how many bands have approached me to, like, hey, we need you to learn our set because we, you know.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be the fill-in guy.
Huh?
You don't want to be the fill-in
guy.
guy.
I've been the fill-in guy. I'm playing with Overkill next week, you know.
Oh, that's right.
And I was supposed to play with Devin Townsend at Bloodstock, and, you know, Testament approached me about there was a unique little show that Alex couldn't make, and just kind of stepping in and doing a short set with them too. So it's, you know, I'm so happy with where things are now. My family, like I said, I have a baby at home and a 5-year-old and my 15-year-old, and, you know, all my kids. My 33-year-old daughter is visiting, so all my kids are home together for the first time. And, you know, the bar that me and my wife own is back on its feet from all being shut down, and everything's great, man. And it's to be able to do this it is a blessing. It's a hashtag blessed.
Finally, what future do you see for Vio-lence?
We're going to put this record out, man, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. I like the lineup we have. I think that people are going to love the fucking songs, man. And I'll send you a couple of them you can preview. But there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, thrash fans are going to love these 5 songs.
Thank you.
You bet.